All right, so on June 18th of 2023, which is this year's Father's Day, actually, there were these two neighbors in Kellogg, Idaho. Idaho's just popping off right now, apparently, in all the worst ways is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And, one of the neighbors lived on the bottom. It was like a duplex. One of the neighbors lived on top, and they shared a backyard, okay? Well, this Major John Kaler, his name is John Kaler, but for whatever reason, the mainstream media is using his Facebook name of Major John Kaler, walked down to his neighbor's front door with his wife. They opened the door, and for one reason or another, he opened fire and killed two people. He then proceeded to go inside and hunt down the remaining two children. One recently turned 18. The other one was 16. These two brothers, okay? Now, what was the reason for this?
Yeah.
What was the reason that these four people had to die? So, it started on June 13th, so 5 days prior. Major John's Kaler's wife was home with the girls. Actually, all of them were home. The whole family was home. And like I said, they always shared a backyard with their neighbors, right? So these two boys, the 16-year-old and 18-year-old, they had a shared backyard, and they had a trampoline in the backyard. And she had mentioned that these boys were always outside jumping on the trampoline. They would put a sprinkler under the trampoline and jump around together in, the summer heat or whatever. Well, one of these days, the girls were up by the door while the boys were out there jumping on the trampoline, and the girls ran inside and said to the mom that one of the boys exposed themselves to them. And her words said, and these are young girls, okay, so this is the first question mark I have. She said her girls said that they were masturbating. Those girls are young enough that they shouldn't know what masturbating means, so that was a red flag for me.
How old were they?
But the two girls, I didn't get their age. I just have pictures of them. They look like they're about 7, 8. So pre-puberty is what I'm getting at.
Okay.
They wouldn't know what masturbating is for a guy at that age.
I mean, at least they shouldn't. They shouldn't.
Yep, more than likely. So they came in and told the mom. The mom then went upstairs to get John, the dad, to, she said, have him knock on the window. I don't really know what that means, but when he came down, the two boys had gone inside. So, no evidence by adults that this happened. I just want to make that clear. I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but I'm also not saying that it did happen. There's no evidence of it either way, okay? Well, John told his wife that if this happens again, you need to tell me and I will take care of it. She thought that he meant that he would go beat him up, which already is another red flag for me. This man is 31 years old. He is a full-grown adult. He is he works as a miner, so he is a rigger for mining. A rigger setter man is what he said for mining. Now, if you want to get a little bit of background who these people are, it shows a couple images of their house, and they have like a giant 12-foot American flag on the side of their house.
Okay.
And they seem very patriotic in the way that, like a lot of the Joe Rogan hunting man, love my guns, America is how I see it, and nothing else fits. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I feel like he had a very small idea of what America was, and anything outside of that wouldn't work. So they went on about their day. She claims that the mom claims that it was never brought up again, but she goes on to post on Facebook and says, word for word, "So we got new neighbors. We got new downstairs neighbors 2 weeks ago. They have 2 teenage boys. One just graduated and the other one does next year. We share a backyard. My kids stay on their side, but they are out there a lot. They jump on the trampoline with the sprinkler almost every single day. The older boy goes outside on his porch and seems to be watching them," in reference to her daughters. "I tried to brush it off since it's their yard too, but my mama gut couldn't shake it." So she's showing a history here of guessing, okay? And again, I'm not saying this didn't happen with exposing himself. I'm saying that anytime you have a situation that involves a really young kid, and another person, that it's important to look at things objectively and logically and not try to police the situation yourself, okay? So she goes on to post, "The 2 girls were coloring in chalk in the backyard when one ran in and told her, 'The boy is in the window exposing himself and masturbating.' She says, 'I make an effort to not look in their windows, so the fact that he was standing right in front of it and my daughters saw everything is absolutely disgusting,' she wrote. 'I immediately ran to get Major, who went down to go bang on the window. He was gone, so Major went to the front door and had to knock several times before he got an answer.' She said, 'I am freaking distraught. I am already so uncomfortable living here, and now with this.' She wrote that she called the landlord to let him know in case they start trying to complain about us, or if they want to try and start drama and get us kicked out, so he knows why. I am livid. The police have been called. I don't take stuff like this lightly. I just want to protect my children, but people always act like you are being dramatic. This is the last thing I want to be dealing with in this market. Now my kids can't play outside like they've been able to for years when there was just a sweet old lady living below us.'"
It's a bit dramatic.
It's dramatic, and I'm curious what the police record and police files will show, okay? Because according to this, she did call the police. Now, going back to Father's Day, the scene that the police encountered was something ignited this. We don't know what. There's no information. This is brand new. It happened less than a week ago, okay? She went to the door with her husband. They went together. Mm-hmm. There was a gun there. They opened the door. The mom, who was 41, Kenna Gardapi, and the grandfather, Kenneth Gardapi. And remember, this is on Father's Day of all days. So I'm really curious what happened. The mother said that some words were exchanged, and the next thing she remembers is hearing the gun go off, and both of them dropped to the ground. According to her, she turned around and went home in fear and shock, and he proceeded in the house to hunt these 2 boys down. The 16-year-old first, and then the 18-year-old. The police have said that all of them have a single close-range shot to the head, except for the 18-year-old, which got shot multiple times in the head. All of these people died. After that happened, he went home and said to his wife, I need you to tell our daughters that I did this to protect them. And he handed her some belongings and then called 911 and said that he killed them.
What an idiot.
I agree.
He made a decision to kill an entire family purely based off the speculation of his wife.
No, not the speculation of his wife. Based off the speculation of two prepubescent daughters.
Yeah, and his wife who was being super dramatic.
Yep. There's a major problem here, okay? I feel really bad for all these people that got ended for such a stupid issue.
I also feel bad for the daughters.
Yeah.
They're going to grow up and be like, God, like, it's my fault they're dead.
Yep.
Because I told them this. Like, what if they were lying?
So, let me show you what she posted on Facebook.
The wife?
Yep. It says, how to catch a predator. It kind of sounds premeditated to me.
Yeah, she said, I was thinking...
I don't know if I can show this picture on here, so I'm going to explain it to you guys. At the top, it says how to catch. At the bottom, it says predator. And then there is a guy standing at a payphone, and he is looking backwards and shooting another man in the head. This is an art piece, like a drawing, okay? It's not real life. But that's obviously what is going on. And this was posted 3 days before this murder took place. This quadruple homicide burglary took place.
Yeah, and she claims that she was in shock and ran back to the house. And I was just thinking, like, say my husband flew off the handle and started shooting a whole family, I would probably run out of fear.
No, you got to remember, this is days after that encounter. What I want to know is why they went back to that house, 1. 2, why was there a gun involved?
Yeah.
3, why was there a premeditated picture 3 days before this quadruple homicide happened? And 4, why did she go, knowing all of these factors?
Yeah.
Is she complicit in this?
I almost feel like she has to be.
I almost feel like that too, because this is such an absurd edge case. Like, this isn't how normal people act in life, okay?
No.
And I think this brings up a really interesting question, though, that with all this pedo political hype that's going on right now, which, by the way, pedophile stuff has not increased since all this is going on, okay? Are we fear-mongering people for the benefit of the two political parties to argue? And this is the type of outcomes we get. Because on the outside, this family looked like a normal middle-class family, okay? They rented, 2 kids, the husband and wife were together, they lived as, a nuclear family, whatever. While I think based on some of the things I'm seeing, I would assume that they have some pretty extreme ideas or thoughts, a little, like, more extreme than your average American or whatever.
Like MAGA type stuff? Or white nationalist, or like
I don't
conservative?
know. I can't. I think conservative, but I can't find anything MAGA political related. I was looking for that stuff because honestly, that's the direction I felt like this was going to be going. Because I don't know very many people that would post a picture that says how to catch a predator with someone shooting them in the head.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big thing in conservative circles. I hear a lot of conservatives saying that, like, predators should just all be killed.
Yep. John told the police that he just snapped. He just snapped. So I'm going to be following this story. I want to know what's going on. This is now the second quadruple homicide in the last 6 months now
In
Idaho. Yep. This is 70 miles away from
the Moscow.
Yes, Moscow, Idaho, where with Brian
Koberger and the University of
Yep.
Idaho students.
Yep.
Yeah, it was, I mean, that one's super tragic. We've been covering that a lot on stream, and we covered it last week, so if you want to hear, like, all our new theories and updates on it, because we'll be following that one too as more stuff comes out. And
that one is raging.
There is for sure, more that's going to be coming out about that, and we want to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so a really sad thing here is apparently the 18-year-old had a diagnosed learning disability and struggled socially. So
oh gosh.
when the police started their investigation, now remember, this happened 5 days ago. Investigations take a while. There is very little information I have to give you, but I wanted to be able to give you guys this information because for whatever reason, this hasn't gotten a lot of coverage, and I think it's because they've been spelling his name wrong. Almost every article I went to spelled his name differently. The guy's name is John, wait, I lost my spot. Is John Kaylor, okay? Jonkaylor. For whatever reason, everywhere I go, they're using his Facebook name of Major John Kaylor, and they're spelling it Majorjonkaler, which is not his last name spelling, not his first name spelling, and they're including Major on it. So there's a lot of confusing information on here. It took me a few minutes to track it down.
That's kind of
really
funny.
It is weird.
Major?
Yeah, Major John Kaylor. And he was not in the military, so
I know,
again,
I was about to say that. Was he even in the military?
Again, this is more of that, what we would expect from a MAGA crowd.
Yeah,
like a very
militia.
Southern, conservative militia. This was a white family. I don't know yet if that had anything to do with it. The family who was killed was also a white family, and they said that the police got access to the 18-year-old's Facebook, and all he had on there were like pictures of him and his family, no friends, and he only had 3 friends, all family members. And then his brother only had pictures of the wilderness or the woods on his Facebook, and he had a total of 5 friends on there. So, like, it sounds like this family was very tight-knit, probably because of learning disability, probably because he was socially awkward. So
Yeah, they were kind of isolated, huh?
this is just one of those one of these situations where it sounds like to me he jumped to a conclusion way too fast. I am not saying that this didn't happen. I am not doubting it at all. I think it very well could have happened.
Yeah.
But you need to remember he had a learning disability, and this guy probably didn't care enough to take the time to find out and talk to his neighbors to find out what was going on. Because my first question wouldn't have been scolding if I'm in this situation. It would have been why.
Yeah.
I would have walked over there and said, I need to know why you did this, why you felt like you needed to do this, what kind of feelings did you get from it? You know what I mean? Like, that would have told you a lot more than going over there trying to confront them.
For sure. Yeah.
This is really sad.
It is really sad. You have no idea. Like, there's just no answers in what he could have been doing. You can't even ask him now.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing.
There's an issue with I feel like in the conservative crowd and MAGA Proud Boy type people thinking that they can just take justice into their own hands. Like vigilante justice. There are some instances where I have been like, yeah, I'm glad that happened. And there's a ton of others where I'm like, you really shouldn't have done that. Like, even if your outcome was like good in the end, like you still shouldn't have done it. Like, because you don't have the information that investigators can have. And sometimes they're better off, finding that information out and the person going to prison and rotting in prison. You know what I mean? Like, there's just a lot of situations where vigilante justice can go horribly wrong. And I feel like this is definitely one of those situations.
I agree 100%. And the thing is, too, okay, he didn't touch her, even if that claim was true.
Right?
Okay, he pulled down his pants, and he should have been had the cops called if that is what happened, and let the cops figure it out and get it on record to make sure you're doing the most you can to protect your daughters. And I do feel like that is the best that you can do to protect your daughters, because now for you, Major John, whatever, you've now left your daughters exposed without you there.
Exactly.
This is now a house full of women because you took the easy way out in life, and you are now going to be behind bars forever. And actually, the Idaho has the death penalty. So if he gets found guilty and doesn't take a plea deal, he will probably get the death penalty.
Probably. What if, say, this socially awkward boy, okay, maybe he was troubled in some way, whipped it out and flopped it around thinking it was funny.
I know.
This has happened to me. I've had boys do this to me before growing up, whipping it out and flopping it around, like, and they went inside and they said, "Hey, Mom, he whipped it out and he went like this." Just did the motion, okay? The motion with her hand. And her mom was like, "He was masturbating." Like, because that's the motion. Yeah. Not realizing she just means he flopped it around. He didn't, like, it could have not been hard at all. Could have not been anything like that. Yeah. Just being ridiculous, stupid boy who's socially awkward, doesn't have a lot of social experience, maybe saw it in a movie and thought it would be funny. Or it was a dare, okay? Yep. A dare from his brother.
A learning disability, socially awkward 18-year-old that has no friends and no social understanding of, what's funny and what's not okay. Yeah.
Right.
No, I see red flags through this whole thing. I see problems through this whole thing. I feel like
there should have been a conversation.
Yeah, anybody that can just by choice on the drop of a dime on Father's Day, grab a .45 caliber pistol and walk over to their neighbor's house and kill 4 people.
A whole family. Okay?
Shouldn't be allowed free anyways. He walked through, searched, and hunted down the 16-year-old and 18-year-old boy after killing the 2 adults in the house. I just see red flags all over this. This is a horrible situation. This never should have happened. And, there was a lot of outcry from the people locally here where some people were defending him. And I don't know if they were people that knew him, but you had people posting on Facebook in parentheses, "So sad, but he had no other choice but to protect his family. Nothing was done when reported." Nothing was done for pulling his sausage out?
Yeah, like he should have...
What should have happened?
You can't... Right, he's a young boy and he's got learning disabilities and say he would have moved on to be a predator. We have no idea. The only way that could have been figured out is if questions were asked...
Reporting it and paying attention as a parent.
Paying attention as a parent, keeping your eyes on your kids, and having a conversation about this, and maybe the mom could have got him into counseling and asked these questions.
Yep. I am waiting to find out more. I am so curious. I want to know more. I want to know what happened the 3 days from the initial encounter and exposing to Father's Day. I want to know if something happened Father's Day or if he had just been building up this hate and anger for 3 days and out of nowhere walked over next door when they weren't expecting him with a 45, with his wife next to him, with a plan to do this. I'm glad he's not out free in the street, but I'm really disappointed this is what it took to get him off the street. So, yep, this is a shame. And if you guys are watching this, you ever get involved in a situation like this, don't jump to conclusions.
No,
Find out. The little girls were not touched. The little girls were not assaulted verbally or physically. The little girls will be okay in response to what the 18-year-old did. They will never be okay again because they don't have a father anymore.
Yeah, their father's a murderer now, and he's gone.
And that is not protecting.
No.
That is not protecting. Living in the world is the hardest thing right now, and you left them alone to do it yourself. I hope that that you weren't the sole income.
Yeah, no kidding.
This is insane. This is insane.
Yeah. It's really sad for the little girls and the people who lost their lives. And, I hope anybody that loves them or cared about them is doing okay right now.
Yep.
Shout out to you.
Yep. Let me know what you guys think about it. Let me know if you've heard any other information on it. And, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot's going to be developing.
Yep.